What's up, everybody? It's Glenn back with Big Jack, another best bets of the NFL weekend video. Heading into week 3, had a little bit better week 2 than week 1, Jack. I went 2-1 this week to move my record to 2-4. You're 1-1 at the moment. We're waiting on the result of the Monday Night Football game, Texans versus Bucks, to see if you move to 3-3 or 2-4. Either way, slowly moving in the right direction. At least I am, and we'll see if we can build some momentum there. How you feeling after a couple weeks? You getting any kind of feel for what we're seeing so far?
I think it's still tough with the 17 game season. I'm sure we talked about it last year, if not the past couple years now. I feel like more and more you don't really pick up on what teams are going to be until, a little bit more towards like end of October, early November. Teams just know they can get away with some sloppiness. Some veteran teams don't look so good. But you're definitely data points are starting to pile up, so that's certainly a good thing. It was huge that the double dip we had, both picking the Giants last week. That was a winner, so that's always nice to see 1-0 on those for the year. And yeah, sweating out this Texans game live. If we both come in with a 2-1 week, stack those all year, you'll be in a real good spot. Yeah, depending the result of this game, either 1-2 or 2-1. Texans just blocked a punt live, so that's got to be good. Yeah, so we're moving, baby. But it's early this week, obviously doing it on a Monday night. I don't feel super confident about the fact that I don't really go through my usual process at this point, but a lot of people will tell you like that's when the best professional action happens. They get good numbers, and sort of can kind of take advantage of movement over the course of the week. So, let's see how sharp we are.
Yeah, for those watching from home and that aren't privy to the insider information, we are picking on Monday this week because the big guy is getting hitched this week. So shout out to Big Jack and his future Mrs. Big Jack as they head towards the big week here. So, all right, with that being said, let's get into the picks, Jack. Real quick side note, I guess. First week, had 3 losers by a combined 4 points. This week, I had 1 loser by like 50 points. Shout out the Bears. They suck. All right, into the picks this week. I'll get started with my first pick. I'm going to go to Thursday night. Dolphins look terrible. This is a really square pick, but I'm going to pick Buffalo minus 12.5. It's a ton of points. It's a divisional game, but Buffalo at home, high-powered offense, known to shut some teams down when they are playing at home. Miami is a team just treading water. I'm afraid I'm on just the square side of this one. I do also like the team total, especially if it comes in at like 30.5. Right now, it looks like it's going to be right around 31. If it's at 30.5, right below that number, 31, I like it a lot. But for the purposes of this show, for the purposes of my pick, I will be on Buffalo minus 12.5 at home versus the Miami Dolphins.
I wouldn't have the confidence to back Miami. You just don't know if that's a team that's, all ready to jump ship on the season. Buffalo's looked great. They had that insane comeback win against the Ravens at home. And then obviously they steamrolled the Jets team, who looked pretty solid week 1. I don't know. Maybe there's some extra juice in that building. I know it's their last year before they open up the new stadium at Highmark or whatever the hell it's called. But yeah, good to get a Thursday night one. Maybe start off the week on a good note. I'm not on that game. Don't feel great about either side. 12.5 points is still kind of just a lot of points in a divisional game, but I'm not running to the window to back the Dolphins. I'm going to go to the well on a team that I was on last week. Usually I'm pretty consistent with, I loved the Titans last week. Certainly a little bit more of a heavy exposure. It was very frustrating loss. They looked pretty good all day, and then Cam Ward just kind of silly rookie mistake drops the ball in the pocket on their own like 20. Rams turn around, punch it in, and it's just kind of over after that. I'm going to take the Titans +3 at home. It's +3 and it's even money right now. It'll probably slide to 3.5, but I'll take the number at 3. I just think they find a way to get it done at home. Colts off to a hell of a start. I know in our preview videos, I kind of said how I liked the Colts to be feisty this year. I still do like Shane Steichen as a coach. Danny Jones has looked great in Indianapolis. They're moving the ball up and down the field, just freaking marching, baby. But
Indianapolis Jones.
Yeah,
have you heard that?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I think it gets a little tougher for them this week. I think that Titans defense kind of gives them something. and, they find a way to stay in it. Sneaky, kind of like the Titans to win that game, but I'll take the 3.
Yeah, man. I think this is a good spot for the Titans, too. I'm not on it myself, but that's definitely the side I would back. That being said, some credit to you, some credit to Shane Steichen. You've been a Shane Steichen supporter ever since he got that job in Indy. He's looking the part right now. He's looking like a coach that's got that team playing some really good ball. But I do like Tennessee in this spot. You got to think the public's going to be on Indiana, or Indianapolis, I should say. So I like Tennessee. All right, my second pick, I'm also going to go to a team I was on last week. They covered for me, backdoor style, just really fought back and made it a close game in a game that they had no business being in a tough game against the Cardinals. I'm going to go to the Carolina Panthers, plus 4.5 versus Atlanta. Atlanta gets that win against Minnesota. They look pretty good, but Minnesota just looked like nothing, man. Just absolutely nothing going defensively. Atlanta looks all right. Bijan Robinson looks like a freaking stud. That being said, no touchdowns for them. Just 5 field goals, if I remember correctly. I like Carolina. I like them to be able to score a little more points than Vikings were against Atlanta. And I like them to keep it within that 4.5. Carolina plus 4.5 is my second pick of the week.
I love that pick. I was very close to also jumping on Carolina this week. That the game definitely caught my eye. Like I said, given the time frame we're working with this week, I think if I dug into it a little bit more, I might have felt that much more confident to pull the trigger. But yeah, talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde out of Arizona last week. I mean, my God, that was, they almost could have been good for your future shout of like the Cardinals under. That would have been a crazy one for them to collapse on. But yeah, wonderful backdoor nonetheless. I'm going to go to a game that has a lot of question marks surrounding it. There could be some pretty serious line movement over the course of the week. There's a lot of like injury / illness stuff going on in Minnesota. So, that maybe they get Darrisaw back. Maybe J.J. McCarthy plays. Maybe they get Harrison Smith back. Maybe they get Van Ginkel back. Maybe they don't get any of them back. I don't know. A lot of question marks. It's kind of risky to pick this game, but I'm going to take the Bengals plus 3. Bengals have pulled 2 games out by the skin of their teeth. I know Jake Browning's going to be their starter for a while. He's, as far as a backup goes, he's as solid as they come. He had some good run, the past couple years. He's got some good experience with a couple of the Burrow injuries along the way. He's performed fairly well. A couple, what the fuck type turnovers here and there. But I think he's, holds himself together pretty well. They still have a solid roster around him. They can lean into the run game. They still have, 2 of the best receivers. They definitely have one of the best receivers in the NFL. I think they'll be solid there. Minnesota just, as good as that roster is, that quarterback play they're getting right now is not great. And I like the Bengals as a 3-point dog on the road to go out there, find a way to get it done.
Yeah, man. Last week we were on the same side. This week we're on opposite sides. I like Minnesota. I got them at minus 2.5, but I could respect the minus 3, or plus 3 on your side. I got Minnesota minus 2.5 versus the Bengals. I just don't think Minnesota loses back-to-back weeks in their own house. I think they come back. They play a tough game. They bounce back after putting up nothing against Atlanta, realistically. And I think that Minnesota's defense is better than Cincinnati's defense in general, and I think that could be the difference. Jake Browning, to your credit, to your point, is probably one of the top 3 or 4 backup quarterbacks in the league. That being said, I'm on Minnesota. Minnesota minus 2.5.
Bound to lock horns at some point over the course of the season. Like I said, we had the Double Dip Classic last week to go 1-0, and then we'll see how this battle plays out. I'm going to do something crazy. It happens maybe once, twice a year where I'm either on or against the Bears. I feel like I should get involved with the Bears a little bit more. It is the team I certainly know better than any other. I'm taking the Bears minus 1.5. They're going to beat the Cowboys' ass this weekend. I think they get a response. I think the defense shows a little something, and I think they kind of come back to Soldier Field. They're back at home, back in their own building on a Sunday. They don't really lose a lot of games at Soldier Field on Sundays. They can't win anywhere else, but it's kind of a comfortable slot for them. They know the season's on the line. I mean, realistically, we've watched that team the past 2 weeks. Season's over, but from a player perspective, locker room perspective, you go 0-3, it's over for real, for real. I think they get a response after getting embarrassed last week. I don't think this is a Trestman team that's going to get 50 hung on them back-to-back weeks. I think they show up. I think the offense does enough to get it done, and the defense stands up a couple times where they, walk away from Sunday afternoon in a big national spot. I think it's the Fox game of the week. I think they go out and show, they're not ready to sort of just completely roll over. I think they find a way to cover that number, win by at least a field goal.
I mean, I love the pick. I don't know if I would go as far as to back the same side. The defense has got to do something. I know a lot of people who don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to football, look at those games and think that Caleb Williams is letting them down. Offense is like kind of average for the NFL. I'm not saying they're lighting the world on fire, but they're kind of an average NFL offense, and they're just losing because their defense is pathetic. So hopefully,
it's glaring because it's like situationally bad. It's like
Fair.
they get a good start and they're kind of in it. They're competing, and then like stats end up looking, box score looks solid, but then it's like, Detroit, they kind of have the bad thing happen at the end of the half with the clock situation, and then they just come out and just like instant false start, like sloppy possession. Like, so situationally, the offense has been frustrating, but with your general point, I 100% agree. Dude, there's a lot of problems bigger than what that offense is.
Agree that situationally they're bad. That being said, in that spot, it was to go down 14-28 at halftime. 28 points, a lot of points by half. But back to the pick. I'll be rooting for the Bears. I don't know if I'll have any money back in the Bears this week. All right. Quick recap. I'm on the Vikings against Jack, who's on the Bengals. I am on Carolina and Buffalo. Jack is on Tennessee and Chicago, all against spread. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Jack, any final words?